Happy Sunday, guys. Welcome back to the channel. You're watching Ken's Cuts. Thanks so much for stopping by. It's a beautiful Sunday here in central New Jersey. It's actually about 70 degrees. We had a road trip yesterday with our daughter. We did a college tour up at Penn State and then stayed over to watch the Luke Combs concert last night. So we just got back and I just wanted to take a minute to talk about my week of sales. Things are really starting to heat up. Pardon the pun. And I'm out here in the wood yard. Behind me here, I've got 16, 20, 24, 28, 29 crates of small split barkless cherry that I've been working on. That's ready to go for one of my existing customers. So this is how I'm drying the small splits. He's looking for 8-inch splits. Small for his smoker, and it's easier to stack this stuff in pallets or on a pallet in crates. But anyway, that's what we got going on. So stick around, let me get set up and I'll be right back to you. Thanks. All right, guys, welcome back. So earlier in the week, longtime buddy of mine that I met through a barbecue group that I helped to moderate had reached out, goodness, about a year ago. Said he had a Weber Smoky Mountain and he would be looking for some small chunks of wood, and that he was in the process of building a custom offset smoker with a 110-gallon propane tank. So he's got that in the works, and he reached out to me during the week and he said, okay, it's time. I've depleted my stash of wood and I want to come see you and get some chunks. He asked for apple, he asked for white oak, and I told him that I would actually be in his area because of where my daughter goes to school. He lives about 10 minutes from there, so Friday afternoon, just prior to my daughter's lacrosse game, we met up and I got him two crates of smoking chunks that he wanted, and I also offered him up a couple of my fire starters, and he said, yeah, they sound really cool. I've seen you talking about them in the group, and I'd love to give them a shot. So we met at the high school. I got him his supplies that he needed. We talked about the fire starters. I explained him how they work, and he actually did some barbecue burnt ends from pork belly yesterday and sent me a video yesterday afternoon of the fire starter in action, and I'll have to save that to my phone and share that with you guys. And his comment under the video was amazing. So he's very happy. Ronnie is thrilled, and to me that's a new customer and that's a win-win because he was excited to get something that I had, and I was able to meet up with him, rather than him driving 30-40 minutes from where he lives. So he was thankful that, we were able to meet up at the high school. And then yesterday, I got 2 texts while I was at Penn State from an existing customer asking me for 2 more boxes of my tabletop stove mini splits. The last short that I did about 2 weeks ago, I did a short about making those splits in my garage because she was getting ready to go away on a camping trip and it was raining, so I did what had to be done. And she's been out on a camping trip and burning through those mini splits of oak. And she said to me, I actually want to get 2 boxes this time. So I'm going to set up and make those today. And I also had a customer who answered my marketplace ad, and he said, I'm in your area. I'd like to, stop by for a bundle of your large cut hickory. And I explained that I wasn't home and that the best thing I could do would be this afternoon once I got back. And he actually works in Trenton and drives through my neighborhood on the way to and from work. So he's going to be picking up during the week. So in the conversation back and forth, the dialogue led to me asking him what he was going to use the hickory for. And he sent me a picture of his barbecue pavilion that he built like 2 years ago. And he's got rotisseries, he's got Blackstones, he's got smokers. And he said, well, I've got a pizza oven and I want to buy the large cut hickory that I can use either in my pizza oven. I'm willing to cut it down, or I'll use it large for my smoker. And I said, well, to be honest, wasting hickory in a pizza oven, yes, it burns hot, but to me, that's just a mortal sin. And I recommended white oak to him for his pizza oven, and I told him that I had white oak small splits that would work just fine, and I have existing customers with homemade pizza ovens that see temperatures of 900 degrees when they're making their pizzas. So I know that the white oak will be just fine for him. And he said, you know what, that's a great idea. I'll take 2 bundles, one of the large cut hickory and one of the white oak. So right here next to me is some crates of white oak that I put up last year, last summer. This stuff is tinderbox dry. It's in crates. It's literally 1 bundle worth in a crate, and I stacked them on their sides to keep the water from getting into the end grain, but I just happened to turn this one up so that I could sit on it. But what I'm going to do now is grab this crate worth and put it into my wrapper and have it ready to go. So that's what we got going on here. Let's get to it. Maybe put this over here. It's nice having this in crates because you can move it around and store it anywhere. The air gets to it, and I basically have a pre-measured bundle ready to go, more or less. My bundles are 1.2 cubic feet, and they measure 12 inch by 12 inch, and they're typically 14 inches long. These splits happen to be 12, so I'm going to go full height on the frame, which will then give me the 14 inches in height, and it'll still be 1.2 cubic feet. And I'm sure he won't mind having 12-inch splits in his pizza oven. Shot through. So I want to have these ready to go because he's going to do essentially a porch pickup this week. I think he said Tuesday, on his way to work. He must have some kind of shift work career where he's off on Mondays. I have other customers that are linemen for cable companies and stuff, and they work Saturdays, so they get Mondays off because people need cable service on the weekends. So as you see, we're a little bit short. I'm at the 12-inch height, but because my splits are only 12, I guarantee everybody 1.2 cubic feet. And I'm going to do that by adding a couple pieces from another crate just to top up the height. And this stuff is tinderbox dry. Like doing a Jenga puzzle. One more small one on this end. And a flat one on the top. So there we have it, 1.2 cubic feet. I use a 10-inch shrink wrap. Those of you that follow Brad over at Firewood at the Furnace, you recognize this stand. This is his design. I have cards made up. I've already marked it saying that it is oak. Because it's a first-time customer, I always include the cards. He will know that the small cut is the oak, because in a minute here you'll see the large cut hickory that I have. That is a respectable bundle. So that's the first of two. So let me get this off the frame and we'll get ready for the hickory. Alright guys, now we're over at the hickory pile. This is large cut hickory that I sourced from a friend, and it was all shagbark hickory. It is now barkless. The bark has all shed off of it. It is over 2 years old. The last time I split one of these open to make some small hickory splits, the moisture level was at 5%. So it is tinderbox dry. And that's what we got over here. Now, these are all 16-inch splits, and this gentleman said he was totally fine with that. So in order to keep my promise of 1.2 cubic feet, a 16-inch split is longer than the frame. I'll still wrap with the same plastic, and it'll be 12 inches wide, but I have the post on the inside marked at 8, 10, 11, 12 inches, up to 14, so that I know where to stop. And typically on my hickory bundles, I'm typically seeing 9 to 10 pieces of large cut hickory in a bundle, whereas the small splits are anywhere from 18 to around 22, depending on the size, for the 1.2 cubic foot. Again, depending on the length of the splits, I'm at the mercy of the tree service. So let's get this one made, and I don't want to bore you guys anymore, so it'll only take a minute. Thanks. So, as I said, these are 16s, so we're only going to need about 10 of these to fill the frame. And these are big. And he said he did not object to, actually this one's holding some bark, which easily pops off. He said he wasn't opposed to cutting them down or splitting them down, but I know personally that this hickory is not a fun gig to do when you're trying to split by hand. So I told him, let's keep these large for your smoker. I mean, this is a monster. I actually think this might be too big for him, so I'm going to let this one stay back. Mind of its own, just to slide out. My customers that have the offset smokers that are custom, that are more than just a box store smoker, they always tell me that the small splits work against them because, you know, they burn up so quick that the pit sees a lot of fluctuations in temperature. So they ask for the larger splits because they can run longer durations that way. flat one, flat one. Put across the top here. And there you have it. So we're definitely over that 12-inch mark. And I explained to him that everything would be in that 12 to 14 to max of 16 inches in length. So there's a slight variation here. I'm sure he'll be fine with it. I have the card all made up. Indicates that this is the Hickory. More just for advertising than anything else. These guys that have pits, they know their woods, they know what they like. He answered my ad, and the first question was, hey, can I come by for large cut hickory this afternoon? And I had to unfortunately respond that I wasn't home, but I'll do what I can to make it work. It's another new customer. So that's that one. 1.2 cubic feet of large cut hickory. And like I said, there's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This one happens to have 12. It's normally 9 to 10. There's a couple smaller ones just to fill out the top. So that's what we got going on. The next thing's gonna be the tabletop stove mini splits. So I'm gonna go get that set up and we'll be right back. Okay guys, so the white oak and the hickory are in the garage, and I just got done making chunks out of some pin oak splits that I had that were all 12 to 14 inches. So I'm going to show you those here in a second. Okay, so we're out on the driveway, and I did not want to bore you guys, but I take these 12 to 14 inch pin oak splits that I had in crates. It was just about 2 full crates. Because of the drying process, they had shrunk down a little bit, and ran them through the chop saw with a 5-inch stop, and it nets me 4-inch and 5-inch chunks, which you see here in the crates. So it's almost 3 full crates. They're just thrown in loose, and I'll take these out to the splitter and run them through the splitter to make the mini splits for Terry, and she's actually going to be by here this afternoon to pick them up. So stick around. Okay guys, so I'm out here at the splitter. I was so wound up to get started, I forgot to hit record on the camera. And as you see here, I've already gone through a partial crate, and that crate is empty. And it fits into this vegetable crate that I've recently scored. And that vegetable crate sits perfectly on the shelf, so it stays put. And I can do the mini splits and throw them right into the crate. And this equivalent is about the size of what I offer for sale. And it goes out in Amazon boxes. And Terry's actually coming by this afternoon, and she's going to bring back her Amazon box. So I can simply dump from these crates right into her Amazon box. And this way we can recycle the box, and I can keep this crate, because I don't have very many of this particular size. It's a produce crate, larger than a regular 12 by 12. And I run these pieces through the splitter, holding them from above. And as you see, my hand is safe because that's where the wedge bottoms out. So I split these, like this one would probably just get cut in half, and it makes nice little mini splits. These are the 4-inch size, so I'm splitting them a little bit thicker than I normally would because they're at 4 inches. Typically I'm 5. When I grab the pieces that are 5-inch, I split them a little skinnier because these are a dual purpose. They go onto a tabletop Solo stove, and she also is going to use them this summer making pizzas in a Solo, it's called a pie oven, a PI oven by Solo Stove, and it's got a small compartment in the back for these mini splits. and that's where these would go. So I just wanted to pause for a second and explain what I'm doing. I'm going to set up the camera and show you guys a minute or two of splitting these. It goes pretty quick. And then I'm just throwing them in loose into this, vegetable crate. And I'll shake these off into a couple standard, 12-inch crates, just so that I can keep this one up here because it's settled in nicely on the shelf and it doesn't bounce around. So stick with me and we'll get the splitter started back up. Alright guys, that's about going to do it for this one. I finished up those couple of crates of the mini splits. Terry will be coming by in a little while after she takes her grandchildren home. They have sleepovers on the weekends. And then she said she'll stop by. But I just wanted to recap. As I was saying earlier, I had a couple different customers come to me for the first time looking for, smoking wood and smoking chunks. And Terry's a repeat. This is her third time coming back to me for the mini splits, and she cannot get enough. And it's the little things, that go a long way when you've got customers that buy pit wood and stove wood, and then they ask you for something, out of the ordinary. You do what you can to, satisfy the customer. So clearly I'm not getting rich making these mini splits, but it's a labor of love, and if it keeps Terry coming back, I'm going to keep doing it. They always talk, on the other YouTube channels, my fellow woodhound friends always talk about value added, selling my smoking bundles for more than double what a normal bundle of, fire pit wood would charge in this area. I think is well justified. It's all barkless, it's ready to go, there's no bugs, there's no rot. And a few of my buddies make fun, it's because you're in the Princeton area you can charge that much. Well, when you go to Home Depot or Lowe's and you buy a small bag of 0.6 cubic foot of supposed hickory, and you get it out of the bag and it's full of chunks and pieces and bark and dirt, and you pay anywhere from $22 to $28 for it, and it's literally half the volume that I sell for 20 bucks. I think it's a win-win for everybody. But this week alone I brought in $160. I'm not getting rich on it, obviously, and I'm not quitting my day job, but it keeps me occupied and a little bit of pocket change, and it goes a long way. So that's about it for this one, guys. Thanks a lot for sticking with me to the end. I'm going to run some of that splitting through time lapse probably. I don't want to extend this out too long, but as I always say, please like and subscribe, share with your friends if you enjoy this kind of content, and until next Sunday, have a good week, everybody. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care.